Hi there, in this video I want to show you how to fill text with an image and make it look like this. I've also added a stroke around the outside, added a bit of a drop shadow as well. And I use these images to upload to stock websites. So here on Shutterstock you can see I've uploaded one that says welcome to Spain. And it just means I can multiply out the images that I've got. I can upload the image, then I can also upload it as a text as well. And the more images you've got on stock, the more you can sell. So let's look at how to do that. And I'll start off with the image. I just got this one from Pixabay just to show you as an example. And I did a search on Spain and got this image. When I opened it, it comes as a background. And I want to double click on that just to unlock it. I'm not bothered about naming this layer. I just click OK and it just unlocks the layer. And I want to add two more layers down here. So I'll click this twice. And I want the photo to be on top. So I'm going to move that to the top. And for the moment, I'm just going to hide that. So I've hidden that. Let's make a white background. So I'll go to this bottom layer and edit, fill that one with white, just to see what we're doing. And then I'll go to the second layer and I'm going to type in Spain. It's quite big at the moment. Let's just make that smaller in capitals. And I'll move that down a bit. Now I think we'll make that black for the moment. So it's black text, and I'm going to select it as well. I've opened the character box here. You can do that from here. Go to window and make sure you've got character checked there. And I'm going to make it a bit bigger. What I've done here, this one does the space between the letters. I think for this I'm just going to change the font a little bit. I think if I hold that, if I make that selected there, I can just use the up and down arrows to choose a different one. I think that looks quite good. That looks a bit like traditional. So I like that. Have we got a bold? There's no bold there. I prefer a bold one, I think. Let's see if we got that in bold. Nope, only in italics. I'll look for one here that looks good. Maybe that one. Okay, let's use that one. It doesn't really matter which one. And I think I'll just make this a bit more of a gap there. Maybe I'll leave that at 0 so they're not touching, but I don't want too much space because we're going to put an image and we want to be able to see a lot of the image. Let's just make it slightly bigger. That's okay, move it in the middle. What I'll also do, because this is very wide, I'm going to just make the text a bit taller, and you can do that here. These are the height and the width, so I'm just going to make this quite high. Let's try that and see what it looks like. We're going to find out later. So what I want to do now is put the image on it, and it's quite easy. I need to click on this eye so we can see it, and then I hold down the Alt key and I click between these two layers, and that will put that one onto the text. So I've done that, and you can see the image now through that text. I want to just make it, put a drop shadow on it so it makes it stand out more, and maybe also put a line around it. So I'll double click on this layer, the Spain layer, and we get the layer effects. So I'll just make it so that you can see what I'm doing. Well, you can see this part. So one thing we might want to do is put a stroke around it. And if I click there, I can make it bigger or smaller. Let's see what that looks like. Looks okay, but the text now is touching here. So I'm just going to cancel that. I'm just going to put a bit more of a gap between them, maybe 20 here. Puts a bit more of a gap between them, then I can put this line around them. So double click again on that layer, on the stroke, and make it slightly bigger. And that looks okay. It's put a line around the text. We can do some other things. I'll just double click again. We can make a bevel and emboss so it makes it stand out like it's a little bit 3D. That looks quite good. Let's just look at that. And let's double click on it again. And another thing we want to do is here a drop shadow. We can make it a bit bigger, make this size a bit bigger, and just adjust these, the distance and the spread. Maybe smaller, like that. So that actually looks quite good, and that could be the finished one. I think this is a little bit dark, this picture inside. So if I go up here, I can do an adjustment on that. Maybe the brightness and contrast, I could make it a little bit brighter. So I can't see where the part is here. So I can just make that a bit brighter. I think that looks better. Might add a bit of contrast, make it stand out a bit more. That looks good. I like that. You can actually see now the castle behind it. And I think that's good enough. I think that looks good. We could have an effect on this bottom layer. This is the background. We could do something here. We could fill it with a color. With the last one, I put a gradient on it, but I think it was quite a dark gradient. I'm going to make it a bit of a lighter gradient. So I'm just going to change these colors here, make that a light blue, and make this one lighter as well. And let's try that. Let's try it anyway. So I'll go to the gradient here, and I'll click at the bottom. Then I'm going to hold down the shift key so it does it at 90 degrees. And that's just a tiny bit. I think that actually looks a bit too light. So let's make it slightly darker. Let's try that and do it again. So on the gradient tool, click there, hold down the shift key and try that. I think that looks okay. It does improve it. I was trying to make it look a little bit like a sky, so maybe this bit's got to be a bit brighter. That's how sky would normally look. Let's try that again. So again, I hold the shift down and do that. And that kind of looks like a sky now. But I think that looks better than just plain white anyway, and looks pretty good.